I guess we got to talk about this. I feel disgusting having said that I did in fact watch that entire preseason game that the Lions played. That was technically football. Like I've looked it up. I've looked up the definition. But that was technically football. So getting into it, Lions lose their preseason opener to the Giants, 14-3. Now that might seem like you know a relatively normal football score. Let me tell you, this was without a doubt one of the most boring games I've had to watch. You had just two quarters where any scoring happened. The Lions scored three in the opening quarter. Felt like okay, we're gonna take an early lead and we're gonna run with it. Then they give up 14 unanswered in the second quarter, and then nothing. And then nothing. Neither team scored. It was terrible. Uh, Lions couldn't score with Hendon Hooker, who went down late in that game. He played one quarter of pretty decent football. But the man that I have to talk about is Nathaniel Sudfeld, Super Bowl champion quarterback. Nathaniel Sudfeld, might I add. I actually looked that up today. Apparently, he was on the Eagles Super Bowl team, so he is a Super Bowl champion quarterback. Nate Sudfeld. Nate Sudfeld is without a doubt the worst quarterback I've ever seen. He is so bad. Like for one, let me just put the apparently he's been in the league for 9 years. He was drafted by the Washington Redskins, didn't play a game. The first NFL game that he played in the regular season apparently was the in 2017 with the Eagles. And I don't know if he played, but he has stats apparently on football reference. I don't want to ever have to see Nate Sudfeld. Like give him the David Blau treatment. Go send him to be the quarterback's coach. Go send him to be a guy holding the clipboard, reading Jared Goff the plays, making sure he all that. Just make him run errands. I don't want to see Nate Sudfeld play in the preseason. I guess if I'd rather see Nate Sudfeld play in the preseason, but the problem we have right now, Hendon Hooker gets hurt. I don't know if he's going to play this Saturday. Nate Sudfeld, well, not currently, not anymore at this point, but Nate Sudfeld was at one time one of our only backups. Luckily, the Lions go ahead and pick up Jake Fromm, who I have to believe is better than Nate Sudfeld. But man, it was so bad. So as far as stats wise, Nate Sudfeld 13 for 24 for 96 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. He lost. He was sacked 4 times for a loss of 22 yards. He had a 46.5 quarterback rating on ESPN here. Yeah. So I just send him away. I don't want to ever see Nate Sudfeld again unless he's holding the clipboard and wearing a baseball cap. That's all. It's the only time I want to see him. But my biggest takeaway from this game, for one, is that the defense looked really good. Now, granted, we're going up against Drew Lock, who then died, and then Tommy DeVito the whole game. Tommy DeVito threw for 92 yards, 8 for 15, no touchdowns, was sacked. He actually was the highest rated quarterback in this game. He had a 72 rating. Drew Lock, though, was completely shut down. 4 for 10, 17 total yards. He had just an 8.3 rating, and he was also sacked. So the defense really did the job. Obviously, you give up the 14 points in the second quarter. That wasn't ideal. But the entire rest of the game, I mean, you had 3 shutout quarters. The problem for the Lions this particular preseason game was the offense just not clicking with Nate Sudfeld under center. But the defense really did play well. And the thing was, so I was actually wondering, where I hadn't called Terrion Arnold's name at all, and that's because I don't think he did much of anything, because apparently I think he was playing. I mean, is he on the box score? He's not on the box score, but I want to say he played. People were saying that he was covering Malik Neighbors. And I'm not entirely sure if this is true. This is one of those things, because neither one of their names was called, because seemingly nothing happened. But the rumor has it, the rumor that I've been hearing is that Terran Arnold did. I want to say I saw him on the field. Terran Arnold did play. He was on Neighbors. They didn't even throw the ball to Neighbors because Terran Arnold had him locked up, basically. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. And Ennis Rakestraw, he also made a nice play, had a solo tackle there out in space. Was really like to see that from him. Broderick Martin had a couple of passes deflected. That was really good to see from the probably your backup nose tackle kind of guy, guy that comes in between snaps, maybe some or what have you. I was happy to see him. Obviously, he didn't play all of last year, but the Lions traded up in the draft prior to this past draft to go get him. So it was cool to see him go ahead and make that jump there and have a nice game. Uh, as far as other players, like James Houston, he had a QB hit. Amik Robertson had a pass deflected. That was kind of cool to see. Obviously, picked up in free agency. Who had the sack? Nate Lynn, although he's out for the year, I think. And Isaac Ukwu. I don't know who that is, but he got a sack. Good for him. But either way, despite the names, the defense did perform well. And again, you can't really take much of anything from these. You can't say, well, the defense like locked down the Giants, so therefore top 5 deep. No, you can't say that. What I will say though is it's at least a start, right? It at least you saw some of the guys that we picked up make some plays. You saw the Amik Robertson. You saw Ennis Rakestraw. You saw Broderick Martin make plays. So to me, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm not gonna lose my mind about the offense looking terrible under Nate Sudfeld because he is a football terrorist, basically. Oh, and one last thing before we cut this segment here. Jake Bates, 1 for 1 on the field goal from 53. Obviously, didn't kick any extra points, but really like to see that in the elements. It was probably the first deep field goal he's had to try in non-indoor arena and an arena filled with at least some amount of people. So really good to see. Really good to see. Hopefully he can build off that. I was hoping to see a little bit more of Jake Bates. Unfortunately, the Lions were going for it a decent amount. But what are you gonna do? So Jake Bates, solid. I mean, didn't only had the one kick, but he made it. So it's like, you know what? You had one kick and you fulfilled your obligation. Good job. That I'm not gonna be mad at it. And Jack Fox was a really good punter. I The Lions scored 3 points, guys. What do you want from me? Okay, this is as good of a breakdown of this game as I can give you, but you can't really take much of anything out of it other than individual performance, and at that, a very like limited, like the tiniest grain of salt, right? Like, it, I'm running out of things to say because I don't have anything. I can't take anything away from this. Did you like Zonovan Knight's performance? What about Sione Vaki? 29. Sione Vaki actually did. He had a couple of nice runs there. So who knows? One of the things with these preseason games is sometimes a player will have a little play where you're like, oh, and then later on in the season, the regular season, they'll kind of go off. I remember Jahmyr Gibbs in that first preseason game against the Giants last year. I want to say he had like a 15, 20-yard catch and run or something like that. And it was like, oh, here maybe we got something here. And then obviously Jahmyr Gibbs is Jahmyr Gibbs. He's stud. Craig Reynolds, he had 4 carries for 11 yards. It is so like I gotta hand it to Craig Reynolds the fact that he is stuck around with this team. I like Craig Reynolds a lot. He's just a dog. You know, he's just a workhorse. So good for Craig Reynolds to still get those reps. And Jamar Jefferson. Did not think he was still on the team. I don't think he's on the team anymore. He had 5 carries for 9 yards. Yeah. Oh, and Donovan Peoples-Jones actually showed up and caught the ball. That's all I got. That's all I got on this. So next week, Lions got the Chiefs. The Chiefs usually play their starters, so probably might not go well. As Kerry Carpenter just hit another bomb. Oh my gosh. 2-run blast for Carp. Oh my goodness. Kerry Bond's narrative is growing strong. Anyway, I'm cutting the segment here. Goodbye. That's all I got. Hi, it's me again. If you enjoyed what you just saw, hit the like and subscribe button. We do live shows every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there.